for the win. It's good! Olszewski takes flight as SGA plays through the contact, banks it in on the foul.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Uncontested Post-Game Podcast Edition. I am your host for tonight, Justin, as OKC beats the Clippers on a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander buzzer beater by a score of 104-103. Tonight, I am joined by my handsome co-host, Taylor Peterson.
You always love to tell me how handsome I am, Justin. I really appreciate it.
Some DMs are supposed to say private.
I mean,
before we get into it, I want to let you know that we are proudly part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and the official podcast of SI Thunder. If you don't already, be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast and leave us a 5-star rating. Fun fact, as of yesterday, you can now do that on Spotify as well.
that is
So for
awesome.
all our Spotify listeners, go drop that 5-star. We would greatly appreciate it.
But Spotify listeners, if you go to your app and you still don't have that capability, like myself, when Justin sent us that, I think they're rolling it out slowly, kind of like Twitter did their updates, you know?
What a tease.
Yep. But stay tuned and please give us a 5-star to Justin's point.
Yes, we would greatly appreciate it. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. But enough about us. SGA gets his redemption after hitting a near buzzer beater, only to be outdone by Devontae Graham against the Pelicans. SGA gets it to go and leaves no time on the clock tonight. Hits an incredible buzzer beater, pandemonium in the Paycom Center as he single-handedly sends home the LA Clippers tonight, 104-103. Taylor, talk to me about Shavante.
My goodness. I mean, Justin, I don't even know what to do. Like, what do I do with my hands? Where do I even start? Like, we could start obviously the SGA buzzer beater, right? We could start at Lou Dort scoring 29 points of 12 of 19 from the floor. We could also start at Josh Giddey being two stinking points short by triple-double, which would mean that you would get your preseason bet of him being the youngest player in NBA history to get a triple-double. We can even, get a little excited about Trey Mann having an incredible first half. Although second half didn't have the opportunity, to continue that. That's fine. But you're right. Probably the biggest thing to start.
Many themes
out there.
So many themes for tonight's game. Shavante tonight, not a great game.
Yeah.
First half, pretty bad. Third quarter, okay. Fourth quarter, great. And down the stretch, the reason I use the phrase single-handedly took down the Clippers is the end of the game. Shai had the nice heads-up play to foul. Wow, I'm blanking now.
Winslow. Justice Winslow.
Wow.
Yep.
I kept wanting to say Terrence Mann, but I think it's because I was thinking about Trey Mann. He fouls Justice Winslow.
Was fantastic also.
Who proceeds to miss both free throws as the Clippers were up 2.
And guess who got the rebound on the second free throw and calls a timeout?
The rebound.
SGA.
Calls the timeout and hits the game-winning 3. So, that whole final stretch was all Shai.
Big time.
And it makes me so happy for him after what happened in the Pelicans game.
Yeah, no, I cannot agree more. My first game of the season, my first game since COVID shut down the entire NBA league, and starting in what was formerly, I guess, the Chesapeake Arena, now the Paycom Center. I was in attendance for my first game since then for the 3-court shove by Devontae Graham. And so watching that, seeing Shai's body language, how bad he wanted that. I actually tweeted out before the game, Justin. I thought tonight was going to be a big Shai night because you could see how bad he wanted that win on Wednesday. And it actually wasn't. As I went through some of those stat lines there, right. It really was. And as you mentioned, it really wasn't Shai's night up until that fourth quarter when he just took control. Yep. And Justin, that's what superstars do. And we are just we're continuing to see a superstar emerge here in OKC, and it's really exciting.
Like you
complementary pieces.
With complementary pieces. Like you mentioned, his stat line, 18 points, 8 of 16 shooting, 2 of 5 from behind the arc, 3 boards, 6 assists, 1 steal. Not numbers that blow your face off, but like you said, the impact at the end of the game, making winning plays when it mattered. That's what superstars do, and that's what we saw from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the crunch tonight. We got to go from there to Lou Dort. You want to talk about numbers? Lou Dort put up numbers tonight. 29 points, 12 of 19 from the floor, 4 of 8 from behind the arc, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. Lou was everywhere. Talk to me about Lou Dort, Taylor.
Both ends of the floor. He's
Yes.
still with, I mean, again, obviously the caveat here is there's no Paul George on the other end of the floor due to, I honestly, I had to tweet this before the game as well. I wasn't sure if it was due to COVID protocols, unfortunately, because it seems like half the league is shut down. Right, exactly. Or if it was injury. And I honestly, there's been so much going on in the NBA, balancing that, Justin, I know you've been following OU football as much as I have recently. So trying to balance all of that, I think I missed the whole PG elbow injury. So this is his 5th consecutive game without that. I don't mean to take that away from this Thunder win, as much as it is just to say that Lou wasn't guarding PG, but I still thought he was equally effective on the defensive end of the floor. He did not start out on Trey Mann. Kind of found that interesting. But he certainly was, Trey Mann. Terrence Mann. But he certainly was there in the second half, and I thought he did a really, really good job on him. The fact that he was able to play and continues to be able to play solid defense on that end of the floor, and then being able to do what he does on the offensive end of the floor and shoot coming off a sprained ankle. This is his first game in at least 7 days. I was going to say a week, but it's a little ambiguous. And, at least 7 days, he comes out with 29 points. And like you said, Justin, 12 and 19 from the floor, just super efficient.
He was finishing
50%
in
from
traffic, which was so fantastic to see.
And bullying those Clippers defenders down low. I mean, it was just awesome to see. And I ended up tweeting out tonight, I understand the Thunder are not winning a lot of games like maybe some of these other teams are. These players are going to be in the most improved race for this upcoming season, for this current season, upcoming at the end of the season. But I think you absolutely have to throw Lou's name in there with the likes of Miles Bridges, Darius Garland. I feel like I'm missing one other that I can't remember right now. But I think it's fair to throw him up there. The offensive jump that he's made, it's incredible.
We got a tweet on the account tonight that asked, has Lou kind of upped his max value potential with how much he's added to his bag this season? I think it's a fair question. The defense is still very much there, but the offensive arsenal that we've seen from Lou Dort this season, like you said, 50% from behind the arc tonight, in addition to some really nice finishes in traffic. And then what you know and love Lou Dort for, just like an absolute bear hug of a steal down
that was
low.
Awesome.
Flying around, diving for loose balls, taking charges, continued his streak tonight of 41 straight games with a 3-pointer, the 2nd longest active streak behind Steph Curry, and the 5th longest streak in Thunder history. That per Nick Gallo. Just like my man's shooting lights out and then locking down the best player on the other end of the floor, and it's ridiculously impressive to watch.
Absolutely. I just sent this picture to myself. I am sharing it to the screen. Bad podcasting, but for those of you tuning into the live stream, we'll maybe not.
Joseph Dieterman in the chat says, "Pay that man." Dieterman, I don't disagree. It makes me a little nervous, though. It makes me nervous to see if the Thunder can keep him long term. If he keeps driving his value up, they're gonna have a tough decision to make on that front.
Very fair. Let's see.
Whoa!
I had it.
Inception.
I had it. Oh
yes.
No. Can you see it?
Yes.
There it is.
Incredible pick. Shout out Brian Terry of the Oklahoman for that fine photo. Just absolutely bullying the ball away.
Insane.
Incredible stuff from Lou Dort. Really nice finishing on fast break, along with what we've come to know and love. But I'd be remiss if we spent any more time on this podcast without talking about Josh Giddey. You mentioned it earlier, 2 points shy of a triple-double. Giddey finishes tonight with 8 points, 8 18 rebounds and 10 assists. The 18 rebounds is the most by any rookie this season and the most by a rookie in Thunder history per Nick Gallo. And today, at the age of 19 years and 69 days, which, come on.
Very
69
nice.
days. It was meant to be. He would have been the youngest, surpassing LaMelo Ball at 19 years, 140 days. But that just means he's got 71 more days to make it happen. He's got plenty of time. That's like mid-February.
Justin, go ahead and inform the listeners why you may have, for those new listeners,
invested.
Yeah, why you may be personally invested in this.
Well, if you recall our preseason bets episode, which is one of my favorite episodes every season.
Agreed.
We make some bets at the beginning of the year, and I bet that Josh Giddey will become the youngest player in the NBA to record a triple-double. And I just went back to my notes. He has until February 26th is the exact date to claim the record.
Perfect. Makes me feel better.
We bet 3 packs of double stuff Oreos on the line. So yes, I'm heavily invested.
Who bet against you? Please tell me it wasn't me.
It was either I kind of.
It's okay if you don't have it right there. It sounds like it may have been me, which. No, that is a bet I would happily pay up if it were to happen. And I'm with you, Justin.
Speaking of junk food, Mark Daignault's quote: Giddey was aware, Daignault was aware, everyone was aware that Giddey was coming up on this record. Daignault said that Matt Tumbleson let him know. Giddey, you could tell, was pressing. He missed,
especially there in the third quarter.
So many bunnies that could have done it. And Daignault sat him, and he sat him for a while. And Daignault's comment after the game was that is just Skittles.
Skittles. I love it. Skittles and broccoli. Absolutely becoming a theme this season. Started with
Daignault is waging a war on Skittles.
He is. He 100% is. They are not going to like it very much. But I do get it. You know, there in the third quarter, he threw Giddey back in very quickly after he barely set him.
Yeah.
Because he was like Daignault mentioned, he was aware of that record that Giddey was very close to. And to your point, Justin, we saw a shift in Giddey's game. Rather than letting the game come to him, rather than trusting in his teammates, he was kind of gunning for it, which I do not blame him one bit whatsoever.
No, right.
His teammates are wanting him to get it. His coach is even kind of wanting him to get it, right? But he just was very uncomfortable in that situation. And I think that's a large reason why he was not able to do that there. Like I said, the third quarter, it might have been early in the fourth. But then he comes back in, he is playing within the offense.
Yep.
But then, the game's so close, it just kind of becomes a situation where are you more concerned about a certain player getting a triple-double or trying to play team basketball and win a basketball game?
As Thunder fans, we've been down that road before.
Yes, 100%. And I think Giddey, Daignault, the entire team made the right decision there. It is nice to hear that we have a little more time for Giddey to reach that triple-double, and I think he absolutely will. The fact that he had 18 rebounds is just phenomenal.
18 rebounds.
I mean, that's nuts. As a guard. I mean, I understand he's the size of a small forward, or a 3 or a wing or whatever you want to call it.
Still, right?
Exactly.
It's incredible.
Exactly. Now he was, Justin, to your point about only 8 points, he was 4 of 14 from the floor. Yep. So if Josh is even just a little more efficient, closer to what he typically has been, especially within the 3-point line, he probably reaches his record tonight. 4 of 14 is not great.
Nope.
But, I mean, I think I do like his shot distribution. Something I mentioned on the post game after Wednesday. I mentioned Dort being out and how I really like the shot distribution, distributing those shots that Lou would have had to players, specifically Lou or Shea and Giddey on Wednesday night. Well, tonight, Lou had 19 points, obviously 12 and 19. Shea had 16 I said points, 19 field goals. Shea had 16 field goals, 8 of 16, and Giddey had 14. I think that is a perfect balance. I really like that.
I like that a lot too. On the note of his rebounds, this tweet came a little bit earlier in the game. Justin Russo, our guy over at the Clip and Roll podcast, said Josh Giddey has 16 rebounds. The only players younger than Giddey to grab as many rebounds in a game are Bill Willoughby, LeBron James, and Dwight Howard.
That's wild.
I don't know who Bill Willoughby is, if I'm being honest, but LeBron James and Dwight Howard, that's pretty good company.
Just
to
roll
be
with
in.
it.
NBA
No.
smart guy knowing Bill Willoughby over here. But yeah, that's it. It's incredible company. The distribution was on point. Joseph Dieterman in the chat, those passes, though, some of the passes tonight, he had one on a fast break where he threaded the needle to JRE as he cut to the basket. And it was, you could tell, you could see it live. It was just a beautiful, tight window pass, looking like Patrick Mahomes out there.
Yes.
Just
yes.
excellent vision from Josh Giddey, as we've come to expect.
He had some wild passes tonight. There's another one where I want to say he was actually passed the ball down low rather than him driving, but he had this ridiculous dish. Was it JRE who had the slam? I can't even remember now. Goodness. I don't know. He had some wild passes tonight that just kind of made you stand up and just kind of like sit there in awe. Like, wow.
And it seems like he does that every single night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also tonight, we got to talk about Trey Mann. Trey Mann came out firing. He finishes tonight with 11 points. I feel like most, if not all of those came in the first half. 3 of 3 from behind the arc, 4 of 8 from the floor overall. He had some deep threes, including a buzzer beater to end the first quarter. He had a nice block on Bledsoe, so he was eating his broccoli on the other end. He was the primary ball handler to start the second quarter, which led to a really nasty step back also on Bledsoe. Just ridiculous stuff overall from Trey Mann to start this game. Really, really encouraging to see from the young fella.
All right, more picture time here for all of you live stream viewers.
Yes.
This is a picture from, I believe it's our guy. I want to say it's man, I'm going blank.
It was
Keandre?
Hoops Intellect.
Hoops Intellect. He posted a screenshot, and I have it up here on the live stream of Trey Mann's step back that he had there. And was it the end of the first quarter, Justin, or was it second quarter?
It was early second. Yep.
Early second. He has his shin, his knee, basically to the ground, and he somehow is able to do. He has Bledsoe like face the completely opposite way.
Bledsoe's
he goes between
turned around
his
backwards,
legs,
going off the screen.
Oh, he goes between the legs,
filthy.
Then does a step back to get
Filthy.
back behind the 3-point line and drills a three. That's right after, obviously, he hits that end of the first quarter 3-point buzzer beater shot. Just like you said, Justin, he came out firing. His confidence is on a whole new level. I'm going to be completely honest. I think if Giddey wasn't flirting with that triple-double, Trey Mann probably gets a little more burned there in the second half.
That's a good point.
And it probably it continues to be a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
But regardless, Trey continues to just really, really impress me. I'm curious your thoughts as well.
It's fascinating how much more confident he seems. And he's been getting a lot of G League burn, especially lately. He's been ping-ponging a little bit. And that's what's fascinating to me. We've talked about it a lot. These guys go down to the blue, and they come back just looking loads more confident. Even Poku, who we haven't touched on tonight, he just looked more confident tonight. So it makes me wonder, Taylor, when does Baisley get G League burn? Because if this is a way to make guys find their confidence, I can think of somebody who needs some of that.
Yeah.
And Darius Baisley tonight, not starting for the first time in a long time, coming off the bench. He played solid. He played fine. But it makes me wonder, like, legitimately, he hasn't spent much time in the G League. And I'm wondering if it would be good for him.
Has he? Like, I literally can't remember. His rookie year, he was playing. I mean, that was a COVID season, obviously. Yeah. I can't remember a time where he went down to the blue. And I know for sure he didn't last season when they were in the bubble, which makes sense. Obviously hasn't this season so far. I'm not entirely sure he has. Now, we obviously have had a lot of talk about how his rookie year, he was in a much more defined role with that team. When you have a player like CP3, you have Shooter on that team still, you have a lot of these different veterans. It kind of forced him to be Steven Adams next to him, right? It gave him a little more leeway. You didn't necessarily have to throw him down to the blue to give him a little more
Right.
confidence. He was getting great experience, getting to play alongside some of those players, especially in the NBA bubble, right, in those playoffs. But he really has struggled since then, even last season some. And I think it was the right decision to bench him. There were some interesting quotes pregame about that from Dignault,
Mhm.
Justin. He mentioned, this isn't permanent, essentially. This isn't
Roster
a
exploration.
demotion. Yeah, right. Yeah, we want it. He even said like maybe something along the lines of we would be doing a disservice not to see these different lineups, being Baisley kind of leading the second unit, Wiggins in the first unit, right? But then he also had some other comment, and I don't have it screenshotted, so I can't bring it up, but something along the lines of kind of alluding to maybe this would be a little more long term for Baisley not starting.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. We talked about Poku going down to the G League, or going down with the blue and getting burned for his confidence, and that finally happened, right? It was kind of funny. It was like right after we podcasted last
Clearly,
Sunday.
they listened to the pod.
Yeah, right. Yeah, obviously Mark Dagnall's tuning in and wants our opinion.
Hey, Mark.
So hey, Dag, throw Baisley down there. Let him eat some broccoli, and then bring him back up and let him get his Skittles.
Chef Bays needs his Skittles.
Chef Bays.
he really didn't have a bad game tonight. He hit some nice shots. Finishes tonight 10 points, 3 of 8 from the floor, 2 boards, 2 blocks. He played some nice defense. Nothing spectacular, but nothing terrible.
Played
either.
Solid defense. Just to mention, look, 24 minutes off the bench, which led all players, including Kenrich Williams. Kenrich had 21, 24 minutes compared to Aaron Wiggins, who did start. Aaron Wiggins had 18 minutes. JRE had 17 minutes. So Baisley and Kenrich still get the most minutes out of all players except Lou, Shea, and Giddey, which I think is fair, makes sense. But I did like the change, and I think it did help. Yeah, obviously, we need to see a bigger sample size, but
yeah, it'll be interesting to watch moving forward. Aaron Wiggins tonight hit the first shot of the game. Yeah, a 3-pointer to open things up, and it was like, oh, okay, this is going to work all right. Nothing that exciting the rest of the game from Aaron Wiggins, but nothing that stood out as terrible either, which is not bad for your first start.
True.
Overall, though, a really kind of like well-balanced team win. SGA hit on it in his post game. He said everybody came to play. He named a bunch of guys specifically, but everybody came to play. And this was a game that if you're a Thunder fan, whether you're rooting for dubs or you're rooting for ping pong balls, everybody could agree tonight there was no wrong way to go when you're playing the Clippers, because handing the Clippers more L's helps the Thunder's future draft capital, and the Thunder losing also helps Thunder draft capital. So there's no way to lose tonight. So if you want to root for a win, tonight is a great night to do so.
As 2 straight games of that, right? Like, I don't mean to like jump into Wednesday's game much more, but obviously there was a lot of great takeaways from that from some of the Thunder youth, and the same exact thing tonight. I mean, again, I think I tweeted this out, but we have Lou Dort scoring 29 points, having 5 rebounds, 12 and 19 from the floor, 50% from 3 on 8 attempts. SGA has a quote-unquote off night, but still is 50% from the floor, 8 of 16, and hits a game-winning 3, step back, nasty 3 against his former team. And your young rookie, who you drafted to play along Shea, technically or hopefully long term, right? 8 points, 18 rebounds, 10 assists. Like, you have to be, and then you have Trey Mann coming off the bench, right, and being the spark plug as a rookie. Like, that's very exciting stuff. And to be able to beat a solid team, even if they were missing, obviously some pretty big pieces, and Kawhi, PG, Serge, still a lot to be excited about, and just kind of some broccoli for us fans, or sorry, maybe some Skittles for us fans, as we continue to eat our broccoli throughout the rest of the season.
It is impressive. The Thunder start 3 rookies tonight in Aaron Wiggins, Josh Giddey, and Jeremiah Robinson Earl. And like you mentioned, and big contributions from Trey Mann. That's 4 solid rotation rookies. The future is bright, and it's very exciting to see. You see the rise of Lou Dort. We know who Shea is. All the young pieces in the stable, and still many more to come because of the treasure trove of draft picks.
And we still right, absolutely. We still haven't talked about Poku. You alluded to him earlier. 10 points, 5 rebounds, 4 of 6 from the floor. I thought was solid, but only 9 minutes tonight, which actually was the least amount of minutes for any player to play. I think some of that probably is due to Trey Mann playing really, really well and still wanting to get players in like Kenrich, Baisley, obviously, Muscala, Favors, and then Giddey doing what he was doing, obviously getting a little more burn tonight to try and get him that triple-double. I think Poku just kind of fell out. He was kind of the odd man out tonight and still contributed and did a lot of really solid things. Stay tuned, by the way. We might have a certain Poku themed giveaway coming up.
Indeed.
What did you think about Poku, Justin?
I thought I agree with you. He looked really solid. He seemed decisive. He seemed confident. The shooting is always nice. We know that shooting's not been great with him. So 4 of 6 from the floor is really nice to see from Poku. He seemed controlled, which is also nice to see from Poku.
Yep.
Sometimes as as wild as it is and as much fun as it can be, I like to see him play a little more within himself. I think a solid outing. Again, 9 minutes, small sample size, but a solid contribution from Poku. I look forward to seeing him get more G League burn to give him some more opportunities to play beyond that, to build up some of that skill set. But I think, a solid night from Poku.
Agree.
Not a lot to complain about tonight. The Thunder get a win. The Thunder improve their future draft capital. Shea hits a game winner. Lou Dort goes for almost 30. Josh Giddey almost becomes the youngest player to hit a triple-double. Trey Mann goes off. Poku plays solid. What more could you want?
Well,
Taylor, you got anything to add?
One of Jabari Smith Jr., maybe a Chet Holmgren, in 2 years from now, I could take a Victor Wembanyama. I always go blank on the kid who's really balling out right now, the 17-year-old in the G League. But Bears can't be choosers.
So much exciting things on the horizon for the Thunder. Thanks for joining us tonight for our post-game show. Once again, the Thunder beat the Clippers 104-103. But don't worry, coming at you tomorrow night, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Central, our weekly live stream where we get the whole gang together to break down the week that was and the week ahead, talk about some larger Thunder themes and a little bit around the association to talk the NBA as a whole. So make sure to make plans to join us for that. Streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and available wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, Thunder up.
And try to stay out of COVID-19 protocols.